Episode 126, Mary Meeker's AI Report.
The primitive forms of artificial intelligence we already have proved very useful.
AI is a golden opportunity.
How do we ensure that this technology is regulated?
The long arc of technological history is now in an extraordinary new phase.
The AI 6 Podcast with Joanne Sweeney.
Mary Meeker's 2025 AI Trends Report is arguably the most important piece of analysis on AI this year. At 340 pages, it charts the explosive growth of tools like ChatGPT, the shifting economics of AI development, and the geopolitical power plays shaping the next decade, and the global implications for business, education, and geopolitics. But what really matters for marketers is what it signals about the future of our work. So in this episode, I wanted to bring you the top insights. I've also linked the report in the blog post associated with this podcast at publicsectormarketingpros.com. And I have an AI conversation happening where I've tasked two marketers to have a conversation about Mary Meeker's 2025 AI Trends Report. And I've used Google's NotebookLM. So let's dive in.
You know that feeling when a big technological shift just sort of creeps up on you?
Yeah, it simmers for ages.
Exactly. Almost imperceptible, moving slowly, and then bam! It hits this sudden, transformative tipping point.
Yeah.
Ernest Hemingway had that great phrase for it, right? Gradually, then suddenly.
That's the one. It perfectly captures it.
And you think about moments like Apple launching the Macintosh back in '84, or maybe Microsoft with Windows 3.0 in '90. It just felt like computing changed overnight.
Totally. And if you're looking for today's prime example of that exact gradually then suddenly thing, well, artificial intelligence has got to be it.
Definitely.
I mean, it's been bubbling away in labs and, theoretical papers for decades.
Right, for ages.
But now we're seeing this genuine explosion into real-world use, real economic impact. It's really happening.
And that's exactly what we want to unpack for you today. So think of this deep dive as your curated guide.
Your shortcut through the noise.
Yeah. We've been digging into this really comprehensive trends in artificial intelligence report, and our mission here is to basically pull out the most important nuggets for you.
So what's really driving AI right now?
What's driving it? Where's it showing up? Because the applications are so diverse now, this sort of high-stakes global picture, and crucially, what looks like it's coming next.
All the key stuff, without drowning you in data.
Exactly. All killer, no filler. So let's kick things off with AI's, unprecedented acceleration.
Right. And you have to start with this really foundational idea, the compounding power of technology itself.
Okay.
It's this principle that for honestly over 1,000 years, innovation has built upon previous innovation. Things get better, faster, and cheaper consistently.
So it's not just step-by-step improvement.
No, it's more exponential, like a snowball rolling downhill, just gathering speed and mass. You can actually, you can see it visually if you look at long-term charts of real GDP on a logarithmic scale. It shows this incredible accelerating curve of human productivity driven by tech.
And that compounding power, it's making real economic waves, like right now with AI.
Absolutely. Take the financial situation of the big US-based large language model companies, the LLMs.
Right, the ones creating things like ChatGPT.
Exactly. So back in 2022, these companies were looking at an estimated negative $5 billion in compute expenses.
Wow. So basically losing billions just to run the model?
Pretty much. Just the cost of running the machines. Now, fast forward just 2 years to 2024 estimates. And it's projected to flip to a positive $3.7 billion in actual revenue.
That's an almost $9 billion swing in 2 years. That's fundamental.
It really is. It shows the business model is actually starting to work, moving from pure cost to potential profit.
And it's not just the financials, is it? The way people are actually using this stuff is just as dramatic.
Oh, the user adoption is off the charts.
Yeah.
Look at ChatGPT. It launched publicly, November 2022?
Yep. Feels like yesterday, but also ages ago.
Right. And its adoption curve has been, the report calls it materially faster and cheaper than almost any other foundational tech product you can name.
Like faster than the Model T car or the original TiVo, even the first iPhone.
Faster than all of them, significantly. It just shows how quickly these new AI interfaces can slot into people's daily lives when they hit the right note. That speed is a massive signal.
Okay, this is where my mind starts to bend a bit on the pure tech side. the hardware efficiency.
Yeah, the underlying engine getting better.
I saw this stat about NVIDIA's Hopper GPU, their big AI chip. Compared to its predecessor from 2014, the Kepler.
Okay.
It uses 105,000 times less energy to generate tokens. You know, the little bits of text or code the AI processes.
Wait, 105,000 times less energy?
Yeah. In what, 9 years? It's almost unbelievable.
That efficiency gain is huge.
Yeah.
But it brings up an interesting point, doesn't it? This old idea called Jevons paradox.
Jevons paradox. Remind me.
It's from way back, like 1865. The basic idea is that when you make the use of a resource much more efficient, the demand for that resource can actually increase so much that overall consumption still goes up.
Ah, okay. So even though each AI task uses way less energy,
The sheer explosion in the number of AI tasks, plus just more general internet use, could still put a massive strain on our energy grids.
so progress creates new bottlenecks. Makes sense.
That's a classic example. Efficiency is great, but scale brings its own challenges.
Okay, so we've got this powerful engine compounding tech, massive investment, incredible hardware gains, rapid adoption. But where's the rubber meeting the road? Where is all this power actually, showing up?
Right. Let's shift gears to the applications, because AI's reach now is just pervasive. It's accelerating digital stuff across the board.
Give me an example.
Okay, voice and audio. Take a company like 11 Labs.
Heard of them. They do the super realistic voice cloning, right?
That's them. In just 2 years, their users, millions of them, have generated the equivalent of 1,000 years of audio content.
1,000 years of audio in 2 years.
Yep. And check this out. Their tools are now being used by employees at over 60% of Fortune 500 companies.
Wow. So it's not just a novelty.
Not at all. And Spotify, just this February, started accepting audiobooks that were translated into 29 different languages using 11 Labs AI.
Okay, that's huge. That's AI becoming core infrastructure for content, for global reach.
Exactly. And that enterprise adoption piece is key. AI is moving up the priority list everywhere. It's not just nice to have anymore.
So like beyond content.
Oh, yeah. Think about restaurant operations. Yum. Brands, KFC, Taco Bell, Pizza Hut.
Big players.
They have this platform called Byte by Yum. It's an AI system for managing their restaurants.
Doing what exactly?
Optimizing things, automating tasks like tracking inventory, helping with staff scheduling, improving decisions, basically, and the growth. They went from 0 restaurants using it in February 2024
Okay.
to over 25,000 using at least one part of the Byte by Yum system by February 2025.
25,000 restaurants in 1 year. That's insane scaling.
It really is. It shows how quickly these tools can roll out when they deliver value.
And it's not just specific industries like food service, right? Marketing departments are jumping in too.
Definitely. There was a survey, July 2024, of 300 global chief marketing officers. It showed generative AI is really picking up steam for marketing tasks.
How so? Fully implemented or?
A lot of them describe themselves as running initial tests experiments. So maybe not fully baked into everything yet, but clearly moving fast from maybe someday to what can we do now?
So it's becoming part of the toolkit.
Right. But beyond those broader uses, what's maybe even more exciting is the specialized AI software popping up in big service industries. It's growing very quickly, as the report puts it.
Like what kind of industries?
Software engineering is a huge one. There's this tool, AnySphere Cursor AI.
Okay.
It's ARR, annual recurring revenue, that key metric for software companies.
Right. Subscription income.
It went from $1 million to $300 million.
Oh, how long?
25 months, between March 2023 and April 2025.
That's meteoric. What does it do that's driving that?
Apparently, it generates more code than almost any other comparable LLM out there, and it's editing over 1 billion characters of code per day.
1 billion characters edited by AI every day.
Yeah, it's fundamentally changing the workflow for developers. There are others, too, like Lovable, another AI platform for building apps.
It just makes you think, what does the job of a software engineer look like in 5 years if AI is doing that much heavy lifting?
It's a huge question.
Yeah.
And it's not just code. Look at healthcare.
Which is usually pretty slow to adopt new tech.
Right. But there's this tool, a bridge. It's an AI that listens to and summarizes patient visits for doctors.
Oh, so it helps with the endless charting and notes.
Exactly. And apparently a majority of doctors at Kaiser Permanente are using it now. As of May 2025, it had already completed over 10 million patient summaries.
10 million. Think about the time that saves doctors. That's huge for preventing burnout and letting them focus on patients.
Absolutely. And then there's the legal field, another highly specialized regulated area.
Right. What's happening there?
There's an AI called Harvey. designed for legal workflows. Its ARR grew from $10 million to $70 million in just 15 months.
Another rocket ship.
And its customer base went from 40 firms to 235 firms across 42 countries, including most of the top 10 law firms in the U.S.
So the biggest, most traditional firms are embracing this. That tells you something.
It really does. It shows the value proposition is compelling, even in these complex, high-stakes domains.
Okay, so the digital applications are exploding, specialized tools are taking off, but it's not just bits and bytes anymore, is it?
No, and this is where it gets maybe even more mind-bending. AI is moving out of the purely digital space and into the physical world.
People are calling them physical agents, right?
Exactly. AI embedded in cars, in machines, even in defense systems.
Let's talk vehicles first. That feels like the most visible one.
For sure. Look at Waymo's fully self-driving cars in San Francisco.
The ones with no safety driver.
Yep. They went from basically 0% of the rideshare market to capturing 27% in just 20 months.
Over a quarter of the market in under 2 years? That's
Right.
way faster than I would have thought.
It is. And then you have Tesla's full self-driving beta. By March 2025, cars using it had accumulated over 6,000 million miles driven.
6 billion miles of data collection and real-world driving.
Yeah, the scale of learning is immense.
You know, when I first read about that carbon robotics laser weeder, it really shifted my perspective on what AI in the physical world could mean.
Right. It's not just cars.
Yeah, I mean, a robot that uses lasers to zap weeds in farm fields, that feels sci-fi, but it's real.
And effective. It's already weeded over 230,000 acres. And get this, it's estimated to have prevented the use of over 100,000 gallons of glyphosate herbicide.
Wow. So that's a direct environmental impact, a direct change to agricultural practice.
Totally. It's AI solving a very physical, very grounded problem.
Any other surprising physical examples?
Mineral exploration is another one. A company called Cobalt Metals uses AI to analyze geological data and predict where mineral deposits are likely to be.
And does it work?
Apparently, yes. They claim they achieve 12 times higher success rate discoveries per dollar spent on exploration compared to the industry average.
12 times better. That could fundamentally change the economics of finding the resources we need for batteries, for electronics.
Exactly. Making essential industries much more efficient and potentially more sustainable.
So AI isn't just staying in the private sector or in tech companies, it's really branching out.
Absolutely. It's becoming a rising priority in the public sector and in research, too. It's moving towards being foundational public infrastructure.
Like governments actively using it.
Yeah. OpenAI, for instance, actually introduced a version called ChatGPT Gov, specifically for government agencies to use.
Interesting. Secure, presumably.
One would assume so. And we're seeing new government partnerships specifically focused on building out AI infrastructures, not just companies anymore.
And universities are getting involved too, right?
Definitely. Major universities like the University of Michigan and Oxford are partnering directly with companies like OpenAI to expand AI research and education. It's becoming embedded in academia.
Is there significant public money flowing into this as well, like government funding for R&D?
Oh, absolutely. In the U.S., the federal AI budget, just for the fiscal years 2021 through 2025, totals $14.7 billion.
$14.7 billion. Okay, that's serious commitment. Where's most of that going?
Well, for the FY25 request, about 34%, over a third, is earmarked for the National Institutes of Health, the NIH.
Ah, so a big focus on healthcare and medical research.
Precisely. Which makes sense given the potential there.
And that ties into how AI is turbocharging scientific research itself, doesn't it? Especially in medicine.
It's transformative. Look at drug discovery. Data from companies like In Silico Medicine and Cradle.
Yeah.
It shows that using AI has slashed the time needed in medical R&D to get to the preclinical candidate stage. It's a key early milestone by 30% to 80%.
30 to 80% faster between 2021 and 2024.
That's what they're reporting. It's potentially game-changing for how quickly we can develop new treatments. Finding promising candidates used to take years and years.
And it's not just finding drugs, but also the devices used in medicine.
Right. The number of AI-enabled medical devices approved by the U.S. FDA has just soared. In 1995, there was just one.
One single device.
By 2023, that number had climbed to 223.
Wow. So AI is making medical tools smarter, safer, more effective at an incredible rate?
It really seems to be integrating deeply into that whole ecosystem.
So with all this incredible progress, this acceleration across so many fields, where does it ultimately lead? We keep hearing the term artificial general intelligence, AGI.
Ah, yes, the Holy Grail.
What exactly is AGI compared to the AI we have now?
So the AI we have now is amazing, but it's generally specialized, even the big LLMs. They're great at language or images or code, but they don't, reason in the human sense across totally different domains. AGI would be, well, different. Systems capable of performing the full range of human intellectual tasks. Reasoning, planning, learning from just a little bit of data, generalizing knowledge, true problem solving like a human can, maybe even better.
So truly flexible, adaptable intelligence.
Exactly. And the expectations around when we might achieve AGI, those timelines seem to have shifted forward quite a bit recently.
How so?
Well, Sam Altman from OpenAI made a pretty significant comment back in January 2025.
Yeah.
He basically said OpenAI is now confident we know how to build AGI.
Confident they know how to build it. That's a bold statement.
It's a massive statement. It doesn't mean it's built tomorrow, but it signals a huge shift in perceived feasibility and proximity.
Which inevitably brings us to the global picture. Because this race towards more powerful AI, potentially AGI, it's not happening in isolation, is it?
Not at all. There's an incredibly intense, high-stakes competition, as the report calls it, playing out between global powers, especially the U.S. and China.
How does that competition look in terms of actual development?
Well, if you look at the sheer number of large-scale AI systems, the big foundational models developed between 2017 and 2024, the U.S. and China are just massively outpacing the rest of the world.
It's really a two-horse race at the top.
At the moment, largely, yes. And China has closed the gap remarkably quickly in some areas. Li Kai-fu, who founded the Chinese AI startup 01 AI.
Right. Prominent figure.
He stated in March 2025 that China had narrowed the AI development gap with the U.S. to just 3 months in some specific capabilities.
3 months? That's incredibly close.
It is. And it's a much, much faster response from China compared to how long it took them to catch up with, say, the internet back in the 90s. Shows the strategic priority.
And when we talked about AI in the physical world earlier, China's a major player there too, right? With robotics.
Huge player. They have a larger installed base of industrial robots than the entire rest of the world combined.
Really? What are the numbers?
In 2023, China had about 276,000 industrial robots installed compared to 265,000 for the rest of the world put together.
So clear leadership in physical automation infrastructure.
Definitely. But there's another layer to this global dynamic, which is public perception. How do people feel about AI?
And it differs significantly between the U.S. and China.
Massively. A 2024 survey found that 83% of Chinese respondents believe AI products and services have more benefits than drawbacks.
83%. Okay. Overwhelmingly positive.
Compare that to the U.S. respondents. Only 39% felt the benefits outweigh the drawbacks.
Less than half. That's a huge difference in public sentiment. Why do you think that is?
It's likely a mix of things. Cultural factors, government messaging, maybe different levels of exposure to different types of AI applications. Plus, you have the whole issue of platform access. Many U.S. AI platforms are blocked in China, shaping what people experience.
It makes you wonder how those different public attitudes could shape the direction of AI development in each country, doesn't it? Could lead to quite different AI futures.
It absolutely could. National identity and government policy can really steer which platforms get built and adopted.
Okay, let's switch gears slightly to the money side of things again. How is this all being paid for? What about monetization and costs?
Right. A key concept here is the cost of inference.
Which is not training the AI, but actually using the trained model to get an answer or generate something?
Exactly. The cost of the AI doing its work once it's ready. And that cost curve is arcing down, as the report nicely puts it. It's getting cheaper, fast.
How much cheaper?
Well, the phrasing they use is evocative. What used to cost dollars can now cost pennies, and what cost pennies may soon cost fractions of a cent.
Wow. So the cost per query, per image generated, per translation is just plummeting.
Essentially, yes. And that's fantastic news. A real gift, you could say, for users and developers building on top of these models. It dramatically lowers the cost of trying new things, building new services.
But what does that mean for the companies actually providing the underlying AI models if the cost per use is dropping towards zero?
That's the multi-billion-dollar question, isn't it? It raises real questions about monetization and profits. How do you charge effectively for something that's becoming incredibly cheap to run at the point of use?
Are we seeing any clues in how these companies are valued by the market?
It's interesting. If you look at OpenAI, for example, its estimated enterprise value compared to its projected revenue for the next 12 months, that multiple looks really high.
Expensive, the report says.
Yeah, around 33 times revenue compared to a median of maybe 6.9x for other established tech companies.
So the market is betting on enormous future growth.
Exactly. But interestingly, if you look at a different metric like revenue per user, OpenAI's multiple is actually pretty much in the range compared to its peers.
So maybe the value is seen in the massive user base and potential future monetization, even if the current per-use cost is falling.
That seems to be the logic, yeah. Pricing in huge potential, even with uncertain monetization models right now.
So let's try and pull all these different threads together. We've covered a lot of ground.
We have. From the basic tech acceleration to specific apps, physical AI, global competition, costs.
What's the big picture takeaway?
I think it's clear that artificial intelligence is just rapidly, fundamentally reshaping the modern world. It's scaled out of the lab and is becoming core infrastructure.
Yeah, it's not just one thing. It's in customer support, it's writing code, it's discovering drugs, it's weeding fields, it's driving cars. It's nearly everywhere.
It really feels like that gradually, then suddenly moment is playing out right now on a truly global scale.
It makes you think, just like it's hard for most of us now to imagine a world without the internet.
Yeah, it feels essential.
Maybe in the next decade, maybe two, imagining a world without AI deeply integrated into everything will feel just as strange.
I think that's highly likely. It's rapidly becoming that fundamental.
So maybe a final thought for you, our listener, as you process all this. Really consider your own life, your own work, your industry. How might this relentless integration of AI fundamentally reshape how you work, how you learn, how you interact with the world around you?
Because it seems clear, based on this report, that using AI, leveraging AI, it's moving very quickly towards being a baseline expectation.
Yeah, like the example of Shopify wanting its merchants to have the best tools. AI is becoming one of those essential tools. It's not just an optional add-on anymore.
It's becoming the foundation for what comes next.